From New Smyrna Speedway in New Smyrna Beach, Florida, it's night number 1 of 9 for the 57th running of the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing. Along with Jesse Punch on pit road and Charles Crawl here in the booth, I'm Adam Mackey bringing you all of the action on Flow Racing. It's World Series time yet again, and Charlie, we're in for a great 9 nights of racing action.
As always, Adam, thanks for having me alongside. As you can see, race cars already on the racetrack, kind of in hurry-up mode here early in the going this weekend. But Adam, you're exactly right. It's going to be a blast the next 9 nights. You want to watch it all live right here on Flow.
5 feature events set up for night number 1. Sportsman up first, 35-lap feature. The super late models to race second, a 35-lap feature as well. Then a little intermission, possibly, as long as rain isn't nearby. And then the pro late models, the modifieds, each running 35-lap features before we end it all with a Bomber A division running a 20-lap feature to end our night.
And those guys put on a show in qualifying, so that Bomber A main should be a lot of fun to see.
We are approaching a green flag here in a couple of laps. We get right into our starting lineup for the Sportsman division. The invert after qualifying today was an 8, putting the 8th fastest qualifier on the pole and the top qualifier in the 8th position. Donovan Ponder driving the 407, a familiar paint scheme. We've seen Jason Vale in this car in recent years. That's the pole car. Derek Griffith, one of the super late model drivers, racing a Sportsman this week outside of row number 1. Row 2 is the 16S of Tim Sozio. And the 75, that this year is Jason Vale.
Back in row number 3, Cody Russo in the 7B will start 5th alongside Matthew Green at number 44. Adam Briggs, the 2020 track champion here at New Smyrna Speedway, will start 7th. He is alongside Danny Fry in the number 12 kit.
Those are your top 8 qualifiers in reverse order. Starting 9, just missing the invert, was the 16C of Rich Klauser. The 63-point runner-up at the track this past season, George Alexander, starts 10th. Starting 11th is Michael Cormier in the 114, and the 1 of Paige Rogers, who was very fast in all of the practices this week. The young lady starts 12th.
We'll keep a close eye on that number 1 car starting P12. Ron Whaley going to start 13th in car number 2 alongside Chris Hunt 2 in car number 30. Daniel Reeves, he's already made a trip down pit road in that 21. Not sure he's going to be able to answer the bell here. He will slated to start 15th. 16th, car number 37, Bill Shea. And out back, Dave Warning in number 112.
Lights are out, getting ready to come to green for our first of, well, I haven't counted them yet, but many, many, many features taking us all the way through next Saturday night.
Literally dozens of feature events.
We have 5 of them scheduled for tonight. We're ready to go green. Normal distance affairs tonight. We'll have plenty of special events of 50 lappers, 76 lappers, 100 lappers throughout the week. Green waves in turn number 4. We are underway for the 57th running of the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing.
And no surprise, Derek Griffith with the jump. He will lead the way down into turns 1 and 2. Look at those cars slipping and sliding down in turns 1 and 2.
Down the back straightaway, out front, Derek Griffith, the pole sitter, the 407 of Donovan Ponder, sliding back into the grass with Sozio, as well as Vale in the 75. Vale running in the 4 slot.
Field going to string out single file at the top 4. First battle on the racetrack going to be for 5th and 6th. Cody Brusso, Matthew Green, Adam Briggs mixing it up.
Those drivers with experience. Cody Brusso, young lady driving the number 7, has been fast in the practice sessions this week, moves into the number 5 position. We're single file throughout our top 7 or 8 drivers.
Derek Griffith continuing to lead the way. Looks like we're going to have a battle for that 2nd position. Tim Sozio starting to put a little heat on Donovan Ponder down the backstretch and into turn 3.
For the 2nd position, Sozio does go to the inside lane, racing for that position. Sozio's been appearing at these World Series events for many years. That driver of the number 16, not all that old, but Sozio started racing back here in the World Series in 2011.
Sozio still to the inside of Donovan Ponder. Side-by-side battle for the 2nd position. Sozio with a great drive off the bottom side of turns 3 and 4. He will take the position, move Sozio to P2.
Short sprints tonight, normal Saturday night type races on this Friday evening here. You see the 407 a little bit free on the exit of 2 as Ponder slips up in that 3rd spot. Jason Vale ready to pounce, and we know all about Jason Vale. He's been a many-time front runner when it comes to sportsman races here at the World Series.
And you see Jason Vale's name on the nose of that 407 car. That's the car he used to drive. He's going to move to the inside. He'll take over that third position from Jason Vale. P3, Donovan back to P4.
Vale qualified about the 5th position today, but he's moving up. He's in the 3rd slot. We see the 407 taking it all the way out to the wall. That's Ponder there. Closely following is the 7 of Grusso. But right behind Grusso, the 44 of Matthew Green. We've seen Green in victory lane when it comes to the World Series in the past. And here's Grusso. 4th position to the inside.
Donovan Ponder not able to keep that car to the bottom side of the racetrack through the center of the corners. He's going to give up some ground. Oh, Cody Grusso going to drop back into, I believe that is the 5th position. Not able to make that deal stick off of turn 4 right there, but she's got a good run again off of turn 2. That 7 car is looking pretty sporty here in the early going.
Matthew Green won the watch in the 44, won 2 out of his 3 starts a season ago here at New Smyrna Speedway during the regular season. Grusso to the inside now. Once again making a run, and Ponder is for the 4th position. Meanwhile, Derek Griffith, a veteran from the Northeast. When I say veteran, he's still young, but he's such a talented racer. We've seen him win super late model championships here, and now he's leading the sportsman race to get us started for Speed Weeks.
So I've noticed Donovan Ponder, now that he's not trying to keep that car on the bottom side of the racetrack, he's moved up a half a groove. That car able to get off the corners a little bit better, and he may have a chance of keeping that 7 car. Cody Grusso behind him, former Legends car driver from here in Orlando.
Yeah, Ponder, and now we see him in a sports car, full-bodied stock cars. Grusso makes another run at him.
Grusso's got a good run. She's at the bottom side of the racetrack. Angie Cole even down the backstretch. Little wiggle out of that 7 car off of turn 2, but again, she's going to drive it in pretty hard there. Good side-by-side battle. This is the battle for 4th and 5th.
She's been very patient. That time, plenty of room. Pulls up wheel to wheel, heading down into the first turn. Over 10 laps have now been completed into this 35-lap race, and move Cody Grusso up into the 4th spot in the 7 car. She'll now set her sights on the top 3, which are Griffith, Sozio, and Vale.
And now here comes Matthew Green in the 44. That car looking pretty sporty here in the early going of our first 35-lap feature of the night.
Decent crowd attending night number 1 despite a terrible chance for rain that entered our forecast throughout the day for this evening. Definitely some showers in the area. We'll keep an eye on those as we watch the battle for second. Vale has closed the gap on Sozio, and the veteran Jason Vale in the 75, the one to watch right now. The Groveland, Florida driver on the move.
Of course, the number 16 S car, Tim Sozio, carrying a beautiful Bobby Allison throwback paint scheme on that number 16 car. Always love seeing that little red and white look as he holds on to that 2nd position. Jason Vale just kind of keeping him in sight right now. Still a long way to go. Still 21 laps to go here in our opening night. Opening feature of opening night. These two really just trying to keep Derek Griffith in their sights. There you see Griffith in the black car directly in front of these two as they work around. First lap car, I believe that's Dave Warning going a lap down for the first time here this evening.
So over to the bottom does Dave Warning in the 112. Allows the leaders to go around the outside, and that's what was instructed in the drivers' meeting for the slower cars. If they're at the tail end of the lead lap and the leaders come up on them, move over to the inside lane. Allow the leaders to go to the outside. We have completed the first 16 laps of this race. 19 to go. Derek Griffith, the Hudson, New Hampshire driver, leading. This battle would be for 6th.
The battle there between the 44 of Matthew Green and the 14 of Adam Briggs. Briggs, our fast qualifier here this evening. He has not, Adam, really made any forward progress. He's picked up 1 position. He started 8th. He's up to 7th. But he's had a hard time working his way around Matthew Green in that 44 car.
He's ready to make his moves. We're at the halfway point of this race. They see the crossed flags this time signifying halfway. And now 18 down, 17 to go. And Briggs, the 2020 track champion here at the Speedway, and he won night number 1 of the World Series last year in the 14 car. Top qualifier, trying to carry that momentum over. He did so far. But like you said, unable to make many moves through the field quite yet. Still in the 7th position.
Best battle on the racetrack right now. The battle for 6th and 7th. Matthew Green in the 44 car holding on to that 6th position. And there's the gap up at the front. Derek Griffith, he drives off the screen in that 12G car. Derek has a lot of experience at this racetrack as we see a car sideways directly in front. Caution going to come out for the first time tonight. Adam Milche sideways in that number 37.
Bill Shea with the spin over in the corner, was running in the 15th position, I believe was the final car on the lead lap at the time of the spin. Driver from Orlando, Florida, bringing out our first yellow of the week.
I'm going to take a guess what happened there. I think the spotter started saying, leader's coming.
Loop it.
Leader's coming. We need a caution.
He came pretty close to that outside wall, so I'm not sure if that's the case. He just made it look good.
I think when you hear leaders coming, the driver starts to, I got to drive it in a little bit deeper, and he just might have jumped out from underneath it right there. I don't think he did that on purpose, but in any case, it does put us under the caution flag for the first time. That's going to put Tim Sozio right on Derek Griffith's back.
And I think more important than that is the fact that Jason Vale now has the third spot, and he's going to be right with him. He was with Sozio, but Derek Griffith had a, 10-car length advantage front of the field. Now we've got 16 to go. They get a chance to regroup. The decisions now will be on yellow flags, the choose rule, which is being utilized here. It's not just the leader that gets to choose inside or outside. It's every single car throughout the field that gets to choose inside or outside lane at this year's World Series.
First time ever, I believe we've done that here at the World Series, so kind of a little bit different situation. Now, they will get to pick which lane they restart in. And as we have seen in other divisions that use this particular format for restarts, some drivers may choose to give up some positions on the racetrack to get the preferred groove, but that opens the door for others to pick up some spots prior to the drop of the greens. We'll have to see how this plays out for the first time here today.
I believe they're going to choose the next time by. The outside lane's a good place to be if you're the leader, so I have a feeling we're going to see the 12 of Griffith choose the outside lane. Does Sozio go with him and choose the outside as well, or does he go to the inside to take a chance? I think Sozio's best move would be to go to the inside. Then it's the 75. We always call the money spot here outside of row 2, because they sometimes pick up 2 spots. If you start 4th, there's a good chance you're going to end up 2nd about the time you get to turn 3. So they're choosing now. Sozio did choose bottom. 75 of Vale went right over the choose. So we'll see. And there's another one in the blue car.
And again, this is the first time these drivers
they're
have
taking
done
both lanes. So Vale ends up going to the inside. That's a break for Brusso in the 7.
Yeah, she's in that money spot. So the outside groove, Adam, particularly with these race cars, and I'm not going to call them underpowered, but the super late models and the tour type mods, a lot of horsepower. They got a lot of tires. These cars don't have so much horsepower. They don't have so much tire. These cars, race cars, operate on momentum. That top side really does allow these drivers to carry a lot of momentum off the corners. So I'm not surprised at all that Derek Griffith would elect the top side of the racetrack, but I am a little surprised that Jason Vale didn't follow him up there. Lights out, Adam. Looks like we'll come back to green next time around.
Our top 5 along the top of our screen, the rotating link field down at the bottom. We have 16 laps remaining. Derek Griffith leads the way. Tim Sozio runs in 2nd, shows the inside lane. So did Vale. And that puts Brusso up into the 4th spot. Can she take advantage, get around, and follow the 12 around the 16 of Sozio? Bring us back out 16 from the finish in our Sportsman Opener of the week.
Just like he did at the drop of the initial green flag, Derek Griffith hard on the hammer. He's going to stretch out the advantage, and they almost stacked them 3 wide, and we've got a car in the wall down in turn 1.
It's the 2 car, Ron Whaley, up against the wall in the first corner. Back-to-back yellow flags. Ron Whaley, one of the Sportsman regulars and the champion at the track during the regular season in 2022, but his weekend off to a tough start. So back-to-back,
tough way to start the week.
Especially after a very good 2022 season. Good news is you can see him turning. I think his right front is going to keep him from pulling away. And I could be wrong. He's going to be able to pull away. That's a good sign.
It doesn't look like there's a lot of damage to that car. But again, anytime you make contact with the right side, you don't know what that right side, particularly the right front suspension, is going to look like. Let's see if we got a good look at what happened here down into turn 1. Keep an eye on the black car behind the blue and yellow. I believe that's the... Yep. Oh, he just got a little loose.
Maybe some bent components, but not terrible for the 2 of Whaley. Just overcorrected a little bit. Got in a little heavy on the outside lane in turn 1 as we slow it down for a second Flow Racing replay. And back in steps out, corrects, and up the track he goes.
And he did a nice job of getting that car slowed down. But, again, he had that wheel turned to the right when he made contact with the right front quarter. So, again, you just don't know if there's anything bent with that right side suspension. So I have a feeling that's going to bring an early hit to Ron's nuts.
Fortunate news is most of the damage occurred, I think, to the right rear quarter panel. So that probably took the brunt of the hit. So leading the way, Derek Griffith, Sozio, and then Vale's in third, Brusso's in fourth. Now, since we had a yellow immediately after the last yellow in the choose, they go back to the last completed lap again. So this puts Vale back into third and gives him a chance again to choose whether he wants to line up on the outside lane or the inside lane. I would expect Sozio to go back to the inside, but now Vale, who kind of went just right over the choose arrow on the previous time.
I have a feeling they're a little less strict about it here than they are in the Cup Series.
Especially being the first race of the week, kind of a new rule.
I was just about to say it before we saw Whaley get up into the wall there, but they just about stacked them 3 wide on that restart for the second position. Keep an eye on Cody Brusso in that 7 car. She can taste the front of the field. And I was going to mention before we went yellow, she was starting to reel in those top 3 cars. That open track really helped her out. That's a very fast race car. And now that she's gained all that track position, let's see if she can do something with it.
Either one of the photographers, Charlie, had a really bright flash where there could be some lightning in the area, so we'll keep an eye on that. We're running the Sportsman opener of the week, opening night of the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing. Super Late Model 35 Lapper is next. They're lined up on pit road, ready to go. Then Pro Late Models, Modifieds, that's the Florida Modifieds. And then the Bomber A's set to run. Good with the fans, yeah.
Good looking crowd here tonight for a
Here's
weather-threatened Friday night. Let's see where they all decide to go here on this restart.
I think Jason Bale gets the whole drive to the inside of the arrow thing. He just kind of goes over top of it. Maybe he thinks it's like a video game and it gives him a boost down into the corner, but he's again on the inside. Russo takes the outside. Pretty much the same lineup. Jason Bale's going to be sent to the tail. I've just heard word that Bale's going to be sent to the tail for running through the choose arrow again. He's done it twice. I'm sure they've been warned.
That's a tough break for the driver of the 75 car. That is a fast race car, but I don't think fast enough to knife his way back to the field in 16 laps.
It's unfortunate, but we saw it the first time, and he did it again this past time, so maybe he has no radio communication tonight. Possibly no spotter, possibly no receiver hearing officials. He's got his hand out the window now. So Jason Vale in the 75 car, who we have seen in previous years end up in victory lane in sportsman events and always fast, and usually behind the wheel of the car that's right behind him, the 407. The caution lights are still on. Pace car stays on the track as they're going to try to communicate with the 75 to get him to go to the back. And they said that there's no spotter up on the roof, so
Could be a
can't
challenge.
communicate with him.
And that would be a challenge to try to communicate with somebody without a spotter. So my guess is we'll send a track official out there. You see the black flag from the starter stand.
Ralph Miller up there pointing at Vale. Vale with his hand out the window.
What? What'd I do? That's what he wants to know.
So Vale twice over the choose arrow is the reason for the extended yellow flag period. Definitely going to have to get somebody to step out on the track and point him to the back. 16 laps remaining in the Sportsman 35 lapper. Jesse Punch down in the pits. Charles Crawl, Adam Mackey up here in the booth bringing you the action all week long on Flow Racing here at the World Series. A lot of fun tonight. 5 feature events on schedule. NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour scheduled to run tomorrow night. That's the big show on Saturday evening. Second year in a row we've seen the tour here, and what a show they put on a year ago. Tomorrow night, I'm sure they'll do the same.
And that is one of the most anticipated races of the season, and we kick off the season with it. Last year they had people lined up to get in here at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. There was hundreds of people in line to get in, and I expect the same thing tomorrow. If you can't join us, tune in right here, Flow Racing tomorrow. We're on the rag at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Joe Austin not on the call for that one. Always happens. It looks like Jason Vale going to bring the 75 car down onto pit road. He wants a quick word with the official now.
So now that moves the inside lane up a little bit further. Puts the 407 of Ponder up inside of row 2. Briggs up to the inside of row 3. Restarts in the 5th spot. The yellow lights are turned off. Coming to green next time around with 16 laps remaining.
Jason Vale will tag on to the tail end of the field. He's got a long way to go. A short time to get home. 12G, your leader, Tim Sozio. 16. Alongside in second. Ponder. Cody Russo back in row 2. The field starting to pick up pace. Green flag back out. Let's see what happens down into turn 1. We're going to stack them 3 wide one more time for that second spot. We'll find out here in a moment.
Russo tries to get a run to the outside. Sozio tried to close the door a little bit in 1 and 2 on the exit, the backstretch. He's able to. Russo takes a run to the inside. Side by side for the second spot. They nearly run out of room. Wheel to wheel, rubbing a little paint, coming to the line. Russo trying to take second. Sozio has it by inches at the line.
Cody Russo used that momentum off the top side of turn 2 to get a great run down the backstretch, and it looks like he's going to close the deal. Down into turn 3 this time. Cody Russo from the money spot on that restart. She's up to second. Does she have enough time and enough race car to track down Derek Griffith? And now, look at the battle for third.
Briggs to the inside of Sozio for the 3rd spot. Top qualifier Adam Briggs, the winner on night 1 of the World Series for the Sportsman in 2022. Making a run for the 3rd position. Lower right of the screen, it's further back in the field. Paige Rogers, fast car from practice today and yesterday, making some moves. Speaking of moves, the 30 saved the car. Huntoon, upper left, crazy action all around the racetrack.
A lot of slipping and sliding in both of those boxes. Adam Briggs had a big old handful of steering wheel coming off of turn 2 that time. He just about puts the bumper there to Tim Sozio. Through turns 3 and 4, Sozio doing a good job of holding on to that spot, but here comes Briggs again down to the inside.
Final 12 laps of the Sportsman 35. Derek Griffith, Super Late Model Stars, leading the way. Cody Russo trying to close the gap and maybe doing so. Tim Sozio, the 16, running in 3rd, but trying to hold off. A fast qualifier, Adam Briggs, who slides into turn 4, stays right on the rear bumper of Sozio.
Briggs with a big-time four-wheel drift off of turn 4. That time he's going to give up a couple of car lengths to Sozio. That 14 car Adam very fast here. Adam Briggs on the charge in number 14.
Great shots by our Flow Racing crew already here tonight with 10 laps remaining now for Derek Griffith. Cody Brusso's closing the gap. Sozio running in 3rd. You see all the way back through the field, running nose to tail, waiting for someone to step out of line. 9 to go at the line for Griffith.
There's Donovan Ponder in the 407 all the way back to 9th after that restart. Donovan running well up into the top 5 most of the night. That restart kind of got jumbled right there in a couple of positions. There we see the battle up at the front of the field. Here comes Cody Russo in the 7B. Cody starting to reel in Derek Griffith. Does she have enough time? 8 laps to go this time around.
Think of all the top-notch Super Late Model competitors that Derek Griffith has held off for feature wins or running up in the top 3, racing with them, battling for wins and championships over the years here at the World Series. And now it's Cody Russo trying to close that gap. You know, Griffith's got the experience. If Griffith would win, he'd join a list of about 25 different guys who have won in multiple different divisions at the World Series. Guys like Junior Hanley, Teddy Christopher, Brad May, Stephen Nasty, many others. Can Derek Griffith be that guy to join that list? Multiple wins in multiple divisions. Right now, he's holding that gap. He continues to lead by several car lengths over Cody Russo.
Cody's done a good job working her way into that second position, but she's going to have her hands full working her way around Derek Griffith. Griffith coming to the right this time around. 5 laps remaining.
5 to go for Griffith. See him in super late model competition as well. His move to the top side of the racetrack, that super late model 35 lapper scheduled to be up next, so he's going to run a straight 70 as his goal and end up in victory lane, potentially in both of them.
He may have to do a little running between races, too. I think we're in big-time hurry-up mode tonight. Mother Nature knocking on the door here, so Derek Griffith hoping to slide straight from victory lane. I don't want to give it to him just yet because Cody Russo, she is on the charge. 3 laps to go, and she is coming. She is coming. She's closed the gap now. It was about 10 car lengths, now down to about 5 car lengths. 3 laps to go.
Final 3 laps. It's a battle between Griffith, the super late model star from the Northeast, and Russo, an outlaw late model / sportsman competitor from down here in Florida. Right now, Russo calls Pensacola, Florida home, has closed that gap to about 4 car lengths. Turn number 4, 2 to go.
1 mile of racing for Derek Griffith in the 12G. He has indeed moved that car to the top side of the racetrack. Looking to take the white flag this time around. 1 more lap to go off of turn 4 for Derek Griffith in the 12G.
Final lap for Derek Griffith, driving a car owned and wrenched by Jason Boyd, a driver who years ago won every single race in his division to claim a championship at the World Series. He knows his way around this track, and so does Derek Griffith. Through turn number 4, coming to the checkered flag, race number 1 of the week, Sportsman to Derek Griffith. Second spot to Brusso. Sozio takes 3rd, Adam Briggs 4th, and Danny Fry brings home position number 5.
We talked about it just before we came on air. Derek Griffith played the invert absolutely perfect tonight. Qualified 7th, started outside row number 1, jumped into the lead at the drop of the green flag, and led the entire 35-lap distance to take the first checkered flag of the week here at New Smyrna Speedway.
Scheduled to see more feature racing this week than we've seen in just about any speed week except 2011 when they had 47 different features. So we're going to see around 50 this week, I believe, as Griffith pulls into victory lane. The Boss Laser sponsored victory lane this week for Derek Griffith, making his way into what could end up being a wet victory lane, Charlie, as reports have it that maybe some drops are starting to fall. Griffith has now claimed wins in super late model and sportsman competition. Jesse Punch is down in victory lane, and we'll send it that way. Jesse?
Kicking off the World Series of Asphalt here, he is no stranger to victory lane here at New Smyrna. But for the first time in the sportsman division, Derek Griffith is your winner tonight. Derek, congratulations on the win. A perfectly executed run tonight. Were you ever concerned that you would not have this race?
Yeah, for a little bit there. We struggled a little bit last couple days, but these things are so much different than what I'm used to running. So if anybody needs a fast race car, they better call Jason Boyd, because this thing was a rocket ship. Boyd Tech, he hooked us up. He put us in this thing, and it paid off. I think we'll have a good piece for tomorrow. 50 laps, the thing didn't really fade off all that much, but I know why they called this the Wheelman Series everywhere else. Man, they were hustling there. They were digging for me at the end, and I had to work for it pretty hard.
Well, you said this isn't your usual race car. What went into the decision to run in the sportsman division?
We've been friends with Jason for years. It goes back to Louis, my crew chief, racing with him back in the 90s, late 90s, and he's helped us come down here for years. We use his shop every time we bring our super down here, and the cards, came into play perfect, and this thing was open. He wants to rent this thing out all year, so like I said, if you guys got to call him, he's gonna have a piece.
Hey, he was serious about that ride. Derek Griffith kicking off the World Series of Asphalt here in victory lane. Strong start for the young driver.
Yeah, I would say so. Not a big surprise that he ends up in victory lane. He's been outstanding here at the World Series. When it came to super late models, we put him into a sportsman. Does Jason Boyd, and all of a sudden he's in victory lane. A perfect qualifying effort because it slated him on the outside of the front row after the invert, Charlie, and we knew he would be tough to beat.
It's almost like he knew he was going to
Right.
get Invert with that qualifying lap.
Invert's going to be 8. I'll qualify 7.
I
Perfect.
think you could put Derek Griffith in any type of race car here at New Smyrna Speedway. For whatever reason, this racetrack just suits his driving style perfectly. And I think you could put him in a Tour Mod. I think you could put him in a Bomber A, and I think he'd be just as good.
Victory Lane ceremonies continue. They've covered up the super late models and the pro late models on pit road because of incoming weather. So we'll keep monitoring that and see how we do on that situation. But super late models scheduled to go next, Charlie, a 35-lap feature. Then the pro late models in a 35-lap race. The Florida Modifieds, 35-lap feature, and the Bombers, a 20-lap feature as well. We'll have all the action for you here on Flow Racing throughout this Friday night. Hopefully Mother Nature cooperates with us. It got really ugly forecast-wise earlier in the day. Then it cleared up a little bit. I think we'll be in good shape. So let's hope for the best. Hopefully it's a little short rainfall. Second place competitor was Cody Brusso. What a run for her, making her first appearance at the World Series, standing by with Jesse Punch.
Cody, first World Series appearance, and you were chasing down a World Series champion, Derek Griffith. You were gaining some ground on him there at the end. Take me through those last few laps.
Man, it's been great running with this new team with Chuck Burkhalter and Willie and Scott Bramlett and everybody that helps out. And, DG over there, he's got a lot of laps around this place. And I made my first laps yesterday. So we got a hot rod for tomorrow. So we used today as practice. And his weekend right there was probably way more expensive than old Trusty Rusty here. But we got it done. I just want to thank my mom, my dad, my wife, Brooke, everybody that helps out on this car, Holly Long for spotting. It's been great, but we're coming for him. We're here now.
Cody Brusso, a strong second-place run for the driver of the number 7. Definitely a threat to win tomorrow night in their special event feature of the week. So congratulations to Cody on that second-place finish, driver from Pensacola, Florida. Tim Sozio taking the third spot in the number 16 car, and no stranger to this racetrack. Sozio has been in victory lane in the past, maybe not during a World Series, but during some of the regular season action here at New Smyrna Speedway. As we send it back down to the front straightaway with Jesse Punch.
Tim, now some laps under our belt here at the World Series. What are your biggest takeaways from night one?
I was happy with how we adjusted on our race car from practice. We struggled a little bit with being tight all day, but I think we hopefully figured something out for tomorrow, and we'll be a little bit better in the 50-lapper.
Rainfall coming from the skies, you could see during that interview with Jesse Punch. Not a terribly heavy rainfall yet. And Charlie, we haven't lost the track. You see it right there. It's still here.
I can still see it
in the New Smyrna Beach area.
We're going to keep our fingers crossed. The forecast all day has been for a pop-up shower around 8 o'clock. It's 8 o'clock. But whatever that forecast was, it didn't say that it was supposed to rain for very long. And we kept an eye on the predictors and the forecasters. And anything that was going to pop in was going to move out really quickly. So we're going to keep our fingers crossed and hope that this weather does move out of here pretty quickly. We've got a busy night to go.
We'll take a look at the field rundown from our Sportsman feature, 35 laps that had Derek Griffith, the Hudson, New Hampshire driver, winning the first race of many features this week. Cody Brusso finished second. Tim Sozio, Adam Briggs, Danny Fry, the rest of the top 5. Matthew Green was 6th. Paige Rogers came up to 7th. That's a fast car. Expect that number 1 to have a better run tomorrow night. Rich Klauser 8th. 9th was Donovan Ponder, and 10th was Jason Vale.
Chris Huntoon coming home in 11th. He's made that awesome save coming off of turn 4 there with about 10 laps to go. Michael Cormier coming home 12th. Dave Warning saw him get lapped there late in the race. He comes home in 13th. Bill Shea 14th. George Alexander got up and grazed the outside wall with about 10 laps to go. He came in 15th. Ron Whaley, we saw him get into the wall down in turn 1 on the first restart of the night. He comes home 17th. And Daniel Reeves unofficially finishes 17th. Daniel had some problems on the roll-off tonight. Unfortunately did not take the green flag. Let's hope that car is able to get put back together and make it back out before the end of the week.
Feature number 1 completed. Many features left, including 4 more tonight. We hope we get to do them. We hope we see them. Rainfall currently coming down, but I'm sure they're going to try their best to get night number 1 completed here at the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing. More on Flow Racing after this.
we'll keep you updated. So stick around, we'll grab something to eat, and like I said, we'll keep you updated. Check.